this is real. A billionaire from Ohio named Larry Connor is planning a Titanic submarine dive.
What
because
the
I guess we still haven't learned our lesson from last time. The trip is going to cost $20 million, and the sub will dive more than 2 miles underwater to the Titanic shipwreck. Now, his reason for doing this is to prove that last year's Ocean Gate implosion was a fluke, and that expeditions and personal subs are now much safer and, quote, life-changing. And if you thought this was bad enough, this was planned just days after the Ocean Gate sub implosion, when Larry reached out to the CEO of Triton Submarines to make a better sub that could make multiple trips.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, man. From YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG videos, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank you guys, man, who's tapping into the channel, supporting it, hitting that like button, man. You guys don't know how much you guys are helping the channel by just doing those 3 simple things. I really appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, man. Let's seek the truth.
The most dangerous animals in the ocean, killer whales, are the apex predator of the sea. And believe it or not, they are a lot smarter than dolphins. Here's a group of them coordinating an attack on this single seal chilling on ice. They each get in line and all start swimming super fast towards the seal. This causes a huge wave to be created, and we all know what happens next. The Australian box jellyfish might look super tiny, or average for some, but if it stings you, you can say goodbye to everything you've ever known. It will start by shutting down your nervous system, meaning if you're still in the water, you'll start drowning, and then it will attack your lungs, making it seem like you're breathing in hot fire. And finally, you'll pass away if you don't get help soon. Sea snakes are also extremely dangerous. They might look cute and harmless with their bright colors, but apparently the brighter they are, the more venomous they can be. That means that only 3 drops from their venom can kill up to 8 human adults.
Top 5 most dangerous animals in the world. Coming in at number 5, we have the assassin bug, also known as the kissing bug because it's known to bite people on the face.
Ooh.
People who are bitten by an assassin bug often contract Chagas disease, which can be deadly to humans. These bugs kill upwards of 12,000 people every single year and can be found in the southern half of the United States. At number 4, we have freshwater snails. Now I know what you're thinking, how can a snail be one of the most deadly animals on Earth? Freshwater snails can have parasitic worms on them, which can get people sick from a disease called schistomiasis, which causes severe pain in the abdomen area. Anywhere between 20,000 to 200,000 people every single year die of this disease, making freshwater snails the 4th most deadliest animal on the planet.
Oh.
Like and follow for the top 3.
Man, there's really it's like it's like the smaller the animal or insect, it's like the more deadly they are. If you really think about it, man, it's like the most smallest freaking animals, bro, are the deadliest. Goes to show you, bro, size don't matter, man. Doesn't matter if they big, small, medium size. They can get you, bro. Things about nature, man, never ceases to amaze me.
You won't believe this crazy discovery about 9/11.
What? No, that's a tragic day in history. No way, they found something buried underneath the building? How the hell did they go that long without being discovered? That's crazy to think about.
Had expanded right over the top of the ship.
If they discovered that, man, it makes you really think about like how many other buildings and stuff might have like secrets hidden underneath them, man, just buried deep beneath the earth. Gotta start being careful, man. We building and putting stuff at, man. We're putting stuff where history's at, and we have no idea. Tap in with us. You're gonna learn stuff, Seekers.
This is the final part of the murder of Jana Murray. So the main suspect, Brittany Norwood, was in an interrogation room at the police station with her brother. Her brother Chris said to her, "Did you do it?" And at first she was denying it, but he kept pushing. Eventually she told him that she didn't want to talk about it in the police station. And even though that wasn't a confession, it was enough for police. And on March 18th, 2011, a week after Jana's murder, Brittany Norwood was arrested. Police still didn't have a motive, but they basically suspected that Jana confronted Brittany about stealing, and she got angry and killed Jana. To this day, Brittany has still not confessed or explained the motive. Brittany's defense tried to argue insanity and that Brittany had an undiagnosed mental illness. But after the trial, the jury deliberated for less than an hour and found Brittany Norwood guilty of murder. She was then sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Brittany actually apologized to Jana's family after she was sentenced before she was taken away, but everybody who heard it said that it sounded so insincere. Jana's murder was absolutely horrific, but thankfully she got the justice that she deserved. The Lululemon in Bethesda, where the murder happened, is still open and now has a beautiful mural in honor of Jana. Jana is incredibly missed by her family and friends, and she was such a beautiful soul. But that's why I wanted to tell this story, because yes, it is the Lululemon murder, the murder that happened at a Lululemon store, but more importantly, it was the murder of Jana Murray. And she deserves her name to be everywhere.
This is what prevailing in. We saw it. Where is it, Scott? We can spot out the edits, man. We've been doing this for a minute. We know what's
Here are facts you didn't know that one day could save your life.
Okay.
If you're ever buried in rubble, yelling will only waste your energy. Look for something to grab and tap in intervals of 3, and rescuers will notice this strange pattern. If a tornado looks like it's standing still, this means it's actually moving towards you. If your drink randomly smells like cinnamon, don't drink it. People often use it to cover up the scent of actual poison. If your house ever smells like fish for no reason, 9 times out of 10, it's because there's an electrical fire. If you ever wake up to the smell of gas, don't turn on a light. A spark from the light switch could blow up your entire house. Lying flat on your back is the best way to survive a falling elevator. If your hair suddenly stands up, duck and cover because you're about to be struck by lightning. If you ever fall off the edge onto the tracks, don't try and crawl back up. There's a crawl space built to go underneath in case this happens. If you ever get kidnapped into the back of a vehicle, disconnect the brake light wire so the cops will pull them over, then kick on the door to let them know that you're there.
Interesting facts, man. I didn't know this. That it said this laying straight back and the elevator when it was going down. That's the best chance for somebody. You would have never thought that in a million years. You would have thought like going to the side or something, man. Try to escape the impact, but just laying straight down. I have to check that one out, man. I guess it's the physics behind it. And about the hair standing up. I've seen a couple of pictures like that before. So does that mean lightning was about to strike just before they took that picture? They lucky.
I can't believe this is real. A billionaire from Ohio named Larry Connor is planning a Titanic submarine dive.
What
because
the
I guess we still haven't learned our lesson from last time. The trip is going to cost $20 million, and the sub will dive more than 2 miles underwater to the Titanic shipwreck. Now, his reason for doing this is to prove that last year's Ocean Gate implosion was a fluke, and that expeditions and personal subs are now much safer and, quote, life-changing. And if you thought this was bad enough, this was planned just days after the Ocean Gate sub implosion, when Larry reached out to the CEO of Triton Submarines to make a better sub that could make multiple trips to the Titanic. So the two of them will soon board the newly designed Triton Abyssal Explorer, which they claim is capable of diving 4,000 meters deep, or 200 more than where the Ocean Gate disaster happened. And don't worry, this time it'll be operated by a PS5 controller. So if you thought 2024 couldn't get any crazier, we now have a Titanic trilogy before GTA 6. And we might have an addition to this graph.
This Nigerian cook survived 3 days and 100 feet
Crazy.
deep shipwreck. One night, Harrison was in the toilet and heard voices from his crewmates yelling as the boat sinking. A few seconds later, water started getting in from under his feet, and he felt the boat flipping upside down. As the boat was sinking, he was able to find find an air pocket, which allowed him to breathe for the next 3 days. The cook was able to survive on 1 bottle of Coke in complete darkness. And to make things worse, he could feel sharks rubbing against his legs while he was in the water. When all hope was lost, he heard banging on the outside of the boat, deciding seeing lights from divers getting closer to him. But then it started going away, so he decided to follow it. Apparently, the divers were looking for missing corpses. As the diver was swimming, he saw a hand and thought it was a corpse. But that hand started squeezing him, so he knew it was alive. So the diver called for backup and was able to save him.
These are the most amazing animals in the world. Part 1. The ogre-faced spider can be found in the forests of Australia and Africa, and it's known for having the largest eyes on any species of spider. Their eyes can also absorb 15,000 times more photons than humans. They're able to hear their surroundings from the tiny hairs on their legs, and use it to create one big and one smaller web between their legs, and attract their prey with their waist and snag it. Next, the Watusi is a species of cattle that originated back in ancient Egypt. The biggest characteristic that helps them stand out is their massive horns. These horns can grow up to 8 feet in length, and some of them may never stop growing. The Watusi with the largest recorded horns was in 2004, with horns measuring 40 inches in width. And these horns don't just look awesome, but they function as air conditioners for the animal, because they can control their body temperature and send it out the horns. And finally, the flatfish. Their flat bodies allow them to blend into the ocean floor to easily hide themselves from predators, as well as help them catch their own prey. They're also extremely fast swimmers thanks to their underfin, which gives them an extra boost. These fish also start like any regular fish, with both their eyes on each side of their face. But within a few weeks, one of its eyes slowly migrates its way onto the other side of the face, which makes them look like this.
Crazy, man. Especially about the spiders, man. Guys, we don't do bugs.
You wish you never knew. On September 26th of 2021, a huge asteroid actually almost hit Earth, and NASA didn't detect it until a day later. So yeah, we were almost done for. Believe it or not, the humans do have a natural predator, and it kills around 2 to 3 million people a year. And we still have no clue how to stop it yet. This creature is the mosquito. Did you know TikTok has a secret emoji? Type shout with the bars around it on your keyboard and see what you unlock. Dr. Carl Tanzler was in love with one of his patients. Her name was Elena, but sadly she passed away. Carl then snuck into her tomb, stole her body, brought her back to his house, and kept her in there for 7 years. For that whole time, her body was slowly rotting away. He would prop her up on the bed like a mannequin. And the only reason he was caught was because somebody saw him dancing with her in front of his open window. You can check if your phone is being monitored right now. Just click on share, slide to the very end, click more, and if any unknown apps appear before your contacts, you should delete them immediately. 3 a.m. is known as the devil's hour. It is said that during that hour, the veil between our world and the paranormal world is thin. No wonder you always wake up at 3 a.m. Studies show that people who like and follow me get smarter every day, so you know what to do.
These pictures I'm about to show you are very disturbing once you know the story behind them. These are pictures taken of the Children of God, now known as the Family. They were a radical Christian cult that hit their peak around the early to mid-70s. Around that time, they had about 10,000 members in dozens of countries around the world. It started with this man, David Berg. He looks creepy, right? It's because he was. He was a predator. Justified pedophilia, incest, rape, abuse of all kinds. All the members had to have sex with each other even if they did not want to. Even the children. He always told his followers that the world was going to end and that they were God's soldiers that were going to fight the Antichrist. Members had to drop out of society. They were only allowed to make money by begging on the street and selling like pamphlets that they were given. David Berg also promoted this thing called flirty fishing, where members, mostly women, would go out to bars and pick up men and have sex with them. They would try to convince them to join the cult, and if not, they would ask for money. It was literally sex trafficking his followers. One of the most disturbing things I've seen about this cult is the story of Dabadito, the book where they explain how every cult member should raise their child. They advocate for child abuse of all kinds and incest. It also get his followers to send videos of women and children dancing naked and singing religious songs. If you want to hear more, I just released an hour-long episode on this cult, and I also talk about Ricky Rodriguez. He was born into this cult, and when he grew up, he realized he had been abused and that this cult was evil. He then killed one of the leaders of this cult and took his own life.
It's crazy, man. I'm saying these things you be learning about these cults, bro. When people get deep into it, it's just like all sense of morality, all sense of free will just gone. They'll do anything that leader says. It's scary, man, to think about how like that one person can gain that much control over that many people. They said it was like over 10,000. That's a lot of damn people. Should we check out that deep dive, man? Like I said, going down that cult rabbit hole, that's something we might have to do one day. Crazy.
So this photo is the reason you shouldn't put your feet up on the dashboard of a car.
What?
In 2007, Granny Keeley had an airbag deploy on her at 120 miles an hour. She was sitting passenger with her feet up on the dash, and when the airbag went off, her knees went right into her skull. Obviously, this led to a brain injury. Her 2 front teeth also fell out, but she lived, thankfully. She lived without a forehead for about 2 years until surgeons fitted a ceramic forehead into her skull. She had near constant headaches, and she developed gallstones because of the medication she was on. After they fitted a ceramic plate into her forehead, they injected fat from her stomach into it so it could look more natural. This is her today, so she looks very normal now. And of course, because she's in good spirit, she says her ceramic forehead is designer because it was made in Italy. She also spent a considerable amount of time educating people on why they shouldn't put their feet up on the dashboard. Because if you do, you could end up like this. And you might not be so lucky. So, if you get anything from this video, stop putting your feet up on the dash. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for informational and entertainment purposes only.
This Nigerian cook survived 3 days and 100 feet deep in a shipwreck. One night, Harrison was in the toilet and heard voices from his crewmate yelling as the boat sinking. A few seconds later, water started getting in from under his feet, and he felt the boat flipping upside down. As the boat was sinking, he was able to find an air pocket, which allowed him to breathe for the next 3 days. The cook was able to survive on 1 bottle of Coke in complete darkness. And to make things worse, he could feel sharks rubbing against his legs while he was in the water. When all hope was lost, he heard banging on the outside of the boat and started seeing lights from divers getting closer to him. But then it started going away, so he decided to follow it. Apparently, the divers were looking for missing corpses. As the diver was swimming, he saw a hand and thought it was a corpse. But that hand started to squeeze again, so he knew it was alive. So the diver called for backup and was able to save him.
Scientists.
That's crazy. We said that story, but that's crazy that the hair. I didn't give more details. I didn't know he survived off a bottle of Coke for like 3 days. And there's like sharks were rubbing up against his egg. Like, imagine just being in that situation. The mindset, you just trying to survive. You're in survival mode. And he saw that if he can dive, he took his chance, man. Goes to show you sometimes, man, when you just see an opportunity, you gotta take it, because you never know what could happen. Ooh.
Scientists are planning to bring back these prehistoric animals. What do you guys think?
No.
I bet you didn't know that this animal can talk. Seals are found all over the world and are known to be cute, cuddly-looking creatures. However, it's recently been confirmed that seals are able to imitate human speech, much like certain kinds of birds. And in the 1970s, a man from the state of Maine in the United States took care of a baby seal that he found abandoned on the shore. The old man who found him named him Hoover, and he took care of him as his own pet for a while before he had to eventually give him up to a New England aquarium. However, what Hoover's owner didn't know is that while he was taking care of the seal, Hoover was listening to the man's speech patterns and was eventually able to replicate it. While living in the aquarium, Hoover began to imitate and mimic the sounds and speech patterns of his old owner. And he even spoke in a Boston accent just like his caretaker. Just listen for yourself.
Whoa. Goes to show you, man, animals are smart creatures, man. He picked up on his voice patterns and the accent too.
Curious facts about Islam, let's go! In Islam, you have a jinn watching you 24/7 and he's looking at you right now. Say hi. In Islam, when you go to sleep, your soul leaves your body and you're pretty much dead until it comes back in the morning. In Islam, jinns sit on your chest while you sleep and they can cause sleep paralysis. In Islam, when a bad person dies, they can see the angel of death in the form of a terrifying monster and he rips their soul from their body while they die screaming like a little baby. And in Islam, on the Day of Judgment, God will show everyone's private sins on a big screen and your family and friends will see what you did in private.
Psychology hacks you need to know. If you want to make someone uncomfortable, look at their forehead while you're talking to them. If you want somebody to open up to you more, ask them a question, and if they only partially answer it, keep eye contact and stay silent. It will pressure them to talk more. If you want to be more persuasive, try and lose the words I think and I believe. When someone is touched on their shoulder or their knees, it creates a stronger emotional and physical bond with the person touching them. Chewing gum can't help you when you're nervous because your brain thinks, well, I'm eating, I must not be in danger. If you walk up to a group of people and they turn their feet towards you, you are welcome. If they have their feet turned away from you, even if their body and head is turned towards you, they are uncomfortable with you walking up. Subtly nodding when someone is talking to you indicates to that person that you are genuinely interested in what they have to say and they're gonna like you more. Follow for more.
Okay. That's just in facts. She said that does make sense. Saying the name, I guess, building up the bond, friendship. If you're trying to, I guess, become closer to a person, use the actual name instead of the same bond. It sounds kind of cool. If you, I guess, throw their name in there, it gives a sense of familiarity. All right, bro. These facts we're learning. Tap in with us, man. I learn new stuff every day watching the videos with you guys, man. I'm a fellow seeker as well. What?
Unfortunately, on Saturday, April 20th of this year in Newport, Michigan, a child's birthday that's supposed to be filled with joy was then filled with sadness and grief. 66-year-old Marcella Chidester drove her car into Swan Boat Club where a birthday party was being hosted. There, she unalived 2 children and injured 13 other individuals.
Damn.
Later in court, she testified stating that she had a seizure while she was driving and that caused her to have the accident. But police testified stating that she was tested for alcohol and she was highly intoxicated at the time of the crash. Her lawyer then claimed she did have 1 glass of wine before getting behind the wheel, but police said based on her BAC, blood alcohol concentration, it's impossible she only had 1 drink. As of April 23rd, she's being held on a $1.5 million bond and is being charged with murder. Being that this case is so recent, her exact jail sentence has not yet been determined. The 2 victims are 8-year-old Lana Phillips and her younger brother, 4-year-old Zane Phillips.
Damn.
I've put a link to a GoFundMe in the comment section for this family, and in the meantime, how long do you think Marcella should receive in jail?
It's crazy. That's exactly why you don't drink getting behind the wheel, because you never know what could happen.
For years, we searched for her remains, tracking down every lead. This search continues. Every year, we honor Jennifer on her birthday. September 27th, 1968. On that day in September, her children, her sister, her friends, and I crossed the street from my apartment and we walked to Central Park, carrying purple balloons, Jennifer's favorite color. We sit on benches and using markers, we write messages to her. Then we let the balloons go and watch as the wind lets them float to the sky. We watch them until the balloons disappear. Jennifer filled her children with love, wisdom, and humor. Jennifer would have been very proud of her children's accomplishments. They will always have their memories of her, as do I.
If you want to...
Crazy. Sad story. It's an anime. This is an edit, bro. We can clearly see. What's the point of these anime edits? This is an anime edit, too. Yeah. You know, however we can call them out, man. If you guys see any edits, man, throughout the video, just call them out in the comments down below, man. I might miss some. You guys can probably pick up on it, too. You guys been watching for a minute, man, so you guys are experts as well. What anime is this that they're showing? It's like a loop or something? Unpredictable. Yeah, this is damn it. This is it. This gives at least give us a heads up, man, if we know when the edit's coming. Some of this can be useful though, if they have like, you know, useful information or a story behind it. Just gotta know what type of edit it is.
Without having to resort to any tricks.
Man. YouTube, that's it, man, for this video for you guys today. If you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker, seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, tell me down below, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video. Also, man, like I said, I'm open to any and all criticism, so anything to make the channel better. Like I said, I saw a couple of you guys' criticism, and I take it to heart, and I always try to implement those changes. Guys, we do daily uploads, so guys, hit that like button, man. We'll continue to grow on. We're gonna keep grinding. We're gonna keep posting our videos, man. We're gonna grow our community together. I'm out. Peace, seekers. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebooks, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank you guys, man, who's been subscribing to the channel, hitting that post notification bell, hitting that like button, man. You guys are growing our community together. I really appreciate that, man. That's what we do best. Let's seek the truth.
This 16-year-old was sentenced to 50 years in prison, and you won't believe what he did. In 2022, Noah Nay shot a 5-year-old girl in the neck and shoulder in Oklahoma. This teen, who I swear looks like a 9-year-old, was riding in a stolen car and purposely shot inside a home where the little girl was playing. But again, this was no accident. No one did this for a gang initiation. Luckily, the little girl survived, but had the bullet hit a spot an inch away, she would have definitely died. Noah was arrested, but not long after, he escaped the juvenile detention center by jumping a fence. He was found 4 days later, but when he was put back into the detention center, he repeatedly assaulted staff. Noah was sentenced as an adult, but the judge said that in 2028, his sentence can be reduced if he's proved that he's changed.
Imagine getting stood up for a day and it causes you to become a key part of a murder trial. It was 2012 in Kentucky, and Shayna Hoopers was 21 years old. She had just graduated from the University of Kentucky and was dating 29-year-old Ryan Poston. Ryan was an attorney, and the pair was said to be very toxic. They'd been together for about 1.5 years, but were very on and off. On the night of October the 12th, things would end for good. Those close to Ryan knew he wasn't happy. He tried ending things with Shayna multiple times, but she refused to accept this. She would turn up to his house, refuse to leave, and they would end up getting back together.
Toxic.
On the 12th of October, the pair were having food at Ryan's parents' house, and they would end up in another argument. Ryan decided to end things once and for all, and to prove to Shayna that he was over her, he decided to go on a date with another woman the next night. The woman was the stunning Audrey Bolt, who was the current Miss Ohio. Audrey and Ryan had arranged to go to a bar the night after at 9:30 p.m. Audrey was really looking forward to it and was very confused when he never showed up. Meanwhile, Shayna had turned up to Ryan's house again without warning. After another massive argument, she took one of his guns and shot him 6 times. She then decided to call police to confess. Now, while she was being interviewed by police, she was acting incredibly bizarre. She twirled around the room and sang, "I did it, yeah, I killed him." She also sang Amazing Grace. Shayna tried to claim that she acted in self-defense, but she was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 40 years in prison. Audrey had to testify in the murder trial. However, in August 2016, Shayna was actually granted a new trial. This was because it was revealed that one of the original jurors was actually a felon. She was again found guilty, though, in her retrial and was sentenced to life. The baby-faced...
Man, that's just a sign. If you guys ain't in a toxic relationship, man, just try to end it all, because it can turn into something even worse, man.
Gangster that shot a little girl in the neck has been jailed for 50 years after a court heard that he knows the difference between right and wrong, but has no amenability to treatment. Noah Nay was sentenced as an adult for the 2022 shooting that saw the teen drive a stolen car and fire a gun towards the house in which the little girl was playing, hitting her in the neck and shoulder. It has been reported that his actions were part of the requirements for a gang initiation.
An American couple married for 75 years. They had one wish in common, a wish that shocked everyone. Jeanette, 96, and Alexander, 95. They started dating at the age of 8, were officially married in 1940, and live in San Diego, Calif. They have 5 sons and daughters and 16 grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Some time ago, Alexander suffered an accidental fall that fractured his hip, and he was confined to his bed at home. He used a special bed. It was placed next to his wife Janet's bed. Soon after, Alexander lost interest in life and became weak. On this day, June 29th, Alexander lay in Janet's arms. The daughter informed her mother that her father had died. Janet said sadly, with tears in her eyes, "This is your wish, to pass away in my arms. I love you. Wait for me. Soon we will meet again." Surprisingly, what's on the calendar for June 29th, 75 years ago today? It was the day they were married. The next morning, their daughter found out. Her mother had also passed away peacefully. It turned out that their common wish was to pass away happily together in an embrace. Follow me. Get more true stories every day.
That is like a story that we can leave without coincidence, man. Like, that was their one true wish, and it happened like just a day after each other, man. They were together that long. That's how they wanted to go out. That's really bizarre.
Here's every character I think that's going to be in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie. If you remember at the end of the movie, Abby ends up asking Mike, "Hey, when are we going to go back to see my friends? I want to see them." And Mike says, "You never know what's going to happen." Now, in my opinion, this movie's going to be based at least 5 to 15 years in the future. Now, hear me out. If we're following the plans of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 as a game, we have to go into the withered characters, because they've been untouched, unmaintenanced, and unloved for so long. We're going to be seeing withered characters in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Maybe not 15 years in the future, I may have dragged it a bit, maybe 3 to 5 years in the future. And as you guys know, all of the withered characters are a little bit more devious. And why are they more devious? Because these kids have been left alone for so long. They loved Abby, they loved hanging out with her. Yes, they wanted to kill her, but still. Withered Freddy, withered Chica, look at Bonnie, she doesn't have a face. Withered Foxy, golden Freddy. I also think we're going to be seeing the puppet as well, aka Mike's little brother. So hear me out, I'm going to be the first one to say it. When we get a Five Nights at Freddy's 2, we are going to get withered characters. It's going to be based at least 3 to 5 years in the future. Just look at withered Bonnie. Imagine Abby pulls up, getting ready to see her friends, and all of a sudden sees Bonnie. My other theory is that they are going to be pissed. They've been left alone for way too long and miss their friend. And that is what's going to drive this next movie to be absolutely insane. Like and follow for more.
Yep, this nightmare is real, and planes are literally flipping over when passengers get up from their seats. A flight attendant for JetBlue had to issue an emergency announcement, making everyone realize their worst nightmares had come true on the plane, with one woman leaving a grim and dark message saying she wasn't sure if she'd ever see her grandkids again. The flight attendant asked all passengers to spread out as their weight was believed to be causing the plane to flip over, telling everyone to move to the middle of the plane.
Very slowly, little by little, move towards the middle of the apron because apparently everything is like it tips out.
With a tech expert saying this was so terrifying, he described it as the plane was about to do a backflip.
It felt like the plane was about to do a backflip.
Which begs the question of how safe are these planes to begin with. Many of the passengers had rushed to the rear of the plane when deplaning, which caused this, but there's still many questions which JetBlue does not have the answers for. While no one was injured, we don't know if this is something that can happen to all planes or if it's rare. See how this fake thug reacted to a life sentence. In 2015, Jaleel Smith Riley was arrested for his involvement in a 2013 robbery that left Aaron Martin with a bullet in his head and Portia Brooks dead. Smith Riley pled guilty to the crime and was hoping to avoid a life without parole sentence. Prior to being sentenced, he cried and begged for leniency.
Consequences, man. The fake thug, bro.
His grandfather also spoke on his behalf.
He always come by to check on me and his grandmother. He always did. He worked in the church with us all.
When the judge spoke, Riley Smith didn't like what he heard. For defendant serve a term of life without parole. As to count 4, defense of attempted murder.
Check it out.
This heartless thug will die in prison.
Hey man, you have to deal with the consequences. You wanna be about that
This
life,
is
you
Two
gotta
Girls,
know
One
what comes
Cup,
with
one of
it.
the most disgusting shock videos on the internet explained. I'm explaining this off memory and other people's comments. There is no way I watch this video again because it's that gross. The video is 1 minute long, and as it starts, you hear a piano track over the video and you see two girls making out. But at around 10 seconds in, it gets absolutely sickening. One of the girls gets a glass cup and defecates in it, filling it all the way to the top. A jump cut then occurs and it shows the two women licking the feces in the cup like it's ice cream. It cuts again and it shows one of the girls rubbing the feces around her mouth, and the video then cuts again, and it shows the two girls making out with feces in their mouth and all over their faces. The next scene, one of the girls sticks her fingers down her throat trying to make herself vomit into the glass as the other girl licks it. The next scene, it shows one of the girls standing up and the other one is on her knees. The one standing up then pukes directly onto the face of the girl on her knees. The final scene shows both girls completely covered in feces as it's even overflowing their mouths. And this is where the video finally concludes. This video is absolutely sickening, and when I tell you not to watch it, don't watch it. I know I say that for all the videos I cover, but this one isn't brutal or gory. It's just plain out disgusting, and you really just don't want to see it. You can watch reactions on YouTube of people watching this for the first time. Joe Rogan even has his reaction video up from years ago.
Hey guys, do you remember Adam Johnson, the hockey player who suffered the fatal cut to his neck in a hockey game on October the 28th? Well, the player whose skate caused the injury has actually been arrested and charged with manslaughter. This is Matt Petgrave, probably not saying that right, but he is the player whose skate caused the injury to Johnson's neck. And news out today is saying that he has been arrested and charged with the manslaughter of Adam Johnson. Now, initially, I was kind of shocked at this news. All of the footage that I saw, I did not think that it was intentional. But then, when you go back and you watch the replay in slow motion, that kind of changes things. Apparently, the hockey world and all of the hockey fans have been waiting on this to come. I'm going to add a clip in here that shows when the injury occurred during that hockey game, and you'll watch it through in regular time first, and then it will be played in slow motion, and I'm curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are. You can see it happens quickly there, but watch it in slow motion where Petgrave is in the red, he comes across and intentionally kicks that leg up, which slashes Johnson's neck and results in his death.
Here's how all of the missing children from the Five Nights at Freddy's movie passed away and became the animatronics. Well, as you guys know, little backstory, these kids ended up going to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. They all ended up disappearing in, I'm pretty sure, 1984, all because of William Afton. Wanted to run some experiments and see if he was able to combine children's souls with these animatronics. And let's just say he did his damn thing. Up first is Freddy. It is said that Freddy's original character was unalived by hiding, which kind of makes sense because you never really see Freddy doing any wild shit. I mean, you see him, but he's always kind of just like lurking or pretending to be still. Then have Foxy, said to be the soul of one of the kids that was running, hence the reason Foxy is always so fast and always running. We also have to take into the account the kid in the orange, who has Foxy's hook, and literally starts sprinting as soon as Mike gets too close. Then have Chica, who's said to have the embodiment of one of the kids that was screaming. Seems as though you always see Chica when she jump scares people in the games is she's screaming, which kind of makes sense. Then have Bonnie, who's said to be after one of the kids that fought back. He obviously didn't win. That shows why Bonnie's always so brawling. Then you have Golden Freddy, who's said to be the souls of 2 children. Which is supposed to be someone named Cassidy, but in the movie it's Mike's little brother. That's the theory. Like and follow for more.
Oh no.
Those theories are crazy.
No. I thought that I had seen everything when it came to cults, but you are not prepared for what this cult believes. So HBO just released this documentary about the Love Is One cult, which was run by this woman, Amy Carlson, who calls herself Mother God. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but she believed she was controlled by the spirit of Robin Williams, and this like yassified version of Saint Germain. Also, I cover a lot of dark stuff on this page, so you should follow along. She also said she could channel and get advice from this like galactic federation of dead celebrities. There's like Mr. Rogers, Carrie Fisher, Steve Irwin, and randomly Donald Trump, who is not dead. But Robin Williams is at the top, and so the cult believes they're getting a lot of advice through Robin Williams, so they'll say things like,
So one of the beliefs that this cult has is that one day Robin Williams is going to arrive in a spaceship to take Mother God away so that she can spiritually ascend. He also told her that she can only be 103 pounds to get on the spaceship, which is why she's trying to lose a lot of weight. Eventually, Mother God starts getting sicker and sicker, and also bluer and bluer because of the colloidal silver supplements they won't stop giving her, and everyone thinks, oh my god, Robin Williams must be coming on a spaceship really soon to help Mother ascend. Eventually, she passes away, and guess what? Shockingly, Robin Williams does not descend in an intergalactic spaceship to come collect the 103-pound body of Mother God. And so the cult members just have her body. They don't know what to do with it. They thought Robin Williams was going to come. So they hang out with it for 12 days until the police finally show up. Anyways, this whole thing is a trip. You just gotta watch it to believe it. I'm seeing photos.
So we check that out, Seekers, man. People who be getting caught up in those groups, man, they be into some weird things. But to say that they thought Robin Williams was going to come down in a spaceship, that's just one of the most bizarre things I've ever heard watching these videos together with you guys. Be careful, man, of those groups.
Show a 13-year-old boy. Police say he murdered his mother, and before that, he's standing over her in a vulnerable position as he's getting ready to stab her to death. Derek Rosa snapped a selfie after the crime, his hands smeared with blood.
No, I'm not hurt. I just have a little bit of blood on my hand.
I need to know if your mom is breathing.
She's 10 minutes.
Okay, what did you do then?
Blood all over the floor.
Where is your sister? Your sister still there?
She's sleeping.
She's sleeping, okay.
Excuse me, miss, what do I do if she wakes up?
If you wake up, just let me know. I need to know. Do you think we can help your mom?
Miss, she said, I took pictures and I told my friends about it. Was that bad?
You told who about it?
My friends.
Who did you send the pictures to?
My friend. I don't know his real name because he is an online friend, so I play with a lot.
Cell phone video shows the moment a teenage boy surrendered with his hands up.
His demeanor, he was very quiet, apologetic, very respectful. Not what you would expect walking into that home and seeing that crime scene.
The 13-year-old, identified as Derek Rosa, is currently in secure detention. When officers arrived to Unit 201 inside the Amelia Oaks apartment complex, they found the victim in her bedroom with multiple wounds, just inches from her newborn baby girl.
Next to her was a crib. And inside of that crib, a 14-day-old baby that fortunately was not injured.
Places that will disappear in your lifetime. Venice, Italy is a beautiful place, but it will disappear in your lifetime. Venice is slowly sinking. The canals cause many floods, and these floods are causing Venice to tilt east. Experts say that by 2100 the city will be uninhabitable. The Great Wall of China is amazing, but it will soon be gone. 1/3 of the wall has already been destroyed. This is mainly due to natural damage, for example climate change, but people walking on it and local settlements stealing bricks from it has also damaged the wall badly. Experts say that within decades the wall may be gone. San Francisco is an amazing city. It's known for earthquakes, but in 2016 geologists found something scary. They found 2 earthquake fault lines underneath the San Francisco Bay. This could destroy San Francisco, and there's a 75% chance this could happen before 2086. The Great Barrier Reef in Australia is one of the most amazing things in the world, but it won't be around for much longer. It's already decreased more than 50% of its original size, and lots of the vibrant coloured corals are now turning white. Some believe the Great Barrier Reef may disappear by 2030.
Damn, that's just in a couple of years. What the hell? All these places, man, that's about to disappear. I gotta see them before they go, man. The Great Wall, Venice, Italy. Hey, man, I want to travel. What the hell? I'm gonna have to put that on my list.
This is one of the worst true crime cases I ever covered, and this is a massive trigger warning. In 2007, the boy on the right named Gabriel Coon, who was 12 years old, was killed by Daniel Petrie, who was 16, and on the left. Daniel Petrie and Gabriel Coon became good friends and began playing an online role-playing game called Tibia. At one point of the game, Gabriel asked Daniel for 20,000 virtual cash to clear the stage. Gabriel borrowed money from Daniel to use in the game and then refused to pay him back. Gabriel then blocked Daniel on everything, and this made him furious, and he went to Gabriel's house to pay him a visit. A couple of days before the murder, Daniel called the home phone of Gabriel, and his mom answered. She explained that she would be out of town and that her son would be home alone if they wanted to play, completely unaware of the boys falling out. And on August 23rd, 2007, Daniel went to Gabriel's house and knocked on the door. Nobody answered, and Daniel kept knocking, but eventually Gabriel started speaking to Daniel through the door. Daniel told Gabriel to unlock the door and let him in, and if he apologized to him, everything would be fine. Believing this, Gabriel unlocked the door and let Daniel in. And after entering the house, Daniel locked the door behind him. Daniel then brutally assaulted Gabriel. Gabriel tried his best to defend himself, but he failed to do so. Daniel was older, bigger, and stronger. Gabriel was dripping in blood after being brutally beaten by Daniel. Daniel then laughed at the terrified Gabriel and took him to the bedroom, where he then sexually assaulted him. Gabriel cried, but this made Daniel even more cruel. After all of this, Gabriel threatened Daniel, saying he would tell his mother everything that happened, but this only made Daniel more mad. And in a fit of rage, Daniel took a cord from a gaming console and wrapped it around Gabriel's neck and strangled him with it until he went limp. Daniel assumed Gabriel was dead, and believing this, Daniel tried to move and hide the body in the crawl space, leading to the bedrooms. However, the body was too heavy, and after realizing this, Daniel searched the house for sharp tools, and eventually he found a kitchen knife and a hacksaw. Daniel then returned to Gabriel's body, and in order to make it lighter, he took the knife and hacksaw and began cutting at the top of Daniel's leg to remove it, and as Daniel cut into Gabriel's leg, he woke up. Gabriel wasn't dead. He let out a blood-curdling scream, but Daniel restrained him, making sure to twist and turn the blade to make it even more painful. Eventually, Daniel dismembered his right leg and moved to his left. And after severing both of his legs, Gabriel passed away. His autopsy suggested he was still alive throughout the whole ordeal, and he eventually died from shock and blood loss. After Daniel finished the dismemberment, he tried to hide the body again, and he wrapped a cable and wire around Gabriel's body. But the body was still too heavy, and Daniel then fled the house. Gabriel's body was discovered by his brother, and the body was left by the hallway door and the legs and the hacksaw too. Daniel Petrie was admitted to a juvenile center in September 2007 to only 3 years. This is due to Brazil's laws of sentencing minors. And to make you realize how evil Daniel was, when the judge asked him if he had any last words of remorse, Daniel said this: "Gabriel was a coward and a thief. He burns in hell right now where I sent him. And when I die, I will find him in hell and finish my revenge." It's also worth saying that the photos of the crime and Gabriel's body had surfaced on the internet, and nobody knows how they got there. I highly recommend not to look at them due to the graphic nature of them, and they would definitely be the worst crime scene photos you will ever see. It's honestly insane how Daniel is walking free today. May Gabriel rest in peace.
This is the case of 19-year-old Alexi Treviso and how she went to the hospital complaining of back pain, but ended up getting charged with murder. Alexi Treviso was a 19-year-old senior in high school living in Artesia, New Mexico. She was on the varsity cheerleading team, and she was dating her boyfriend Devin for about 2 years. Honestly, Alexi just seemed like a typical teenage girl. Her prom was coming up soon, her graduation was around the corner, and she was already thinking about what university she was going to go to in the fall. January 26, 2023, that day was pretty much just like any other day for 19-year-old Alexi. She went to cheerleading practice that day and got home in the afternoon. She spent some time with her family and then she went to bed. However, she was woken up in the middle of the night with severe back pain. This was like not normal back pain. Like Alexi was in so much pain that her mother decided to take her to the hospital. Alexi and her mother Rosa arrived at the Artesia General Hospital in the early morning hours of January 27. Alexi checked in and told the doctors that she had really bad pain in her back, so they wanted to do a test to see if maybe she had a UTI or a kidney infection, since back pain can be a symptom of both of those things. So they're getting ready to do those tests, and then they asked Alexi, "Are you pregnant?" Which is a very common thing to ask. I mean, if you're a girl and you've gone to the doctor before, I feel like they always ask you if you're pregnant. On top of that, experiencing back pain can be a symptom of pregnancy. So the doctor asked Alexi, "Are you pregnant?" And she says no, that she's still a virgin and that she hasn't engaged in any sexual activity. So the doctor's like, okay, perfect. And they send Alexi over to go get a CAT scan done so that they can check for kidney stone. And while she's getting that test done, the doctors decide to still do a pregnancy test just in case, because you never know. So they did a urine test, and when the results came back, they were positive. Alexi was pregnant. Now, of course, pregnancy tests can sometimes be inaccurate, so the doctors wanted to check her blood just to make sure that she was actually pregnant. And while all of this is going on, Alexi tells the doctors that she needs to go to the bathroom. Like, she has to go number 2, and it's coming out, like, right now. So she gets up from the hospital bed and she literally runs to the bathroom holding her butt because she feels like it's going to come out. She locks herself inside the bathroom and she's in there for quite some time. Doctors and the staff at the hospital are getting kind of worried because she's been in there for a while and they know that she's pregnant. So they're thinking maybe she's having some type of miscarriage or something else is happening. They knock on the door, but Alexi refuses to come out. At one point, her mother Rosa also goes over to knock on the door, but Alexi says that she's just having trouble going number 2 and that she'll be out shortly. At this point, Alexi has been in the bathroom for more than like 20 minutes. So the doctors tell her, if you don't open the door right now, we're going to unlock it. Before the doctor can unlock the door, Alexi just opens up and starts walking back to her room. One of the doctors looks inside the bathroom just to see, what happened, and they do see that there was all over the floor. They asked Alexi, what's going on? And she said that she simply got her period. All over the cleaning lady to come clean up the bathroom, and when she starts to take out the trash, notices that the trash bag feels heavier than usual. So Leela, the housekeeper, goes to look inside the garbage bin, and when she pulls out a bag, she finds a baby. The baby was inside a clear plastic bag at the bottom of the bin. Okay, more in part 2.
Never wake up a sleepwalker.
Do you want me to wake him up?
This ain't funny though.
This girl was freaking out when her sister got out of bed and started sleepwalking.
Stop staring at me like that. Alexis! Mom! Mom!
It's like a spirit takes them over.
She's just standing here staring at me. Relax. Okay. I'm going down. Jana.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Follow for more. Crazy sleepwalking stories. What the hell? Okay, man. You got proof, man. I'm not to wake up and damn sleepwalk. YouTube, you guys, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I really appreciate that, man. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys subscribe. Hit that like button, man. Hit that post notifications, man. Also, tell me down below, man, if you guys enjoy the changes to the channel, man. Like I said, I'm coming back on the talking, letting the videos play through, man. I fixed the audio for you guys, man. Some more changes are coming to the channel. I just want to grow this, grow our channel to be the best it possibly can be. It's May, man. Haven't missed a day of uploading. Like I said, maybe in May you might see me do double uploads on the day. I don't know if I should do that yet. I don't want to overflood you guys, but if you guys down for it, tell me down below, man. I can do some double uploads for you guys. I'm out. Peace, seekers. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary, creepy videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank you guys, man, who's been tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, hitting that like button, man. You're helping us grow our community, the seekers. Really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, also follow me on my social medias and send me videos where you guys want me to react to so I can switch it up for you guys. That's what we do best. I seek the truth.
She filmed a video of her smothering her son and sent it to her friend. This is 20-year-old Emma Rigdon from St. Louis, Missouri. On April 15th of this year, Emma was with her son when she slapped his leg and put her hand over his nose and mouth.
Ooh.
Obviously, this was preventing him from breathing. Emma decided to record this incident and send it to a friend. She also recorded another video of her covering her son's face with a blanket in her hand. This caused the boy to cry and grab at the blanket. Once she sent that video to her friend, she also sent a handful of text messages. The first text said, "I don't know, when I do that, I feel an adrenaline rush." The next text said, "I stopped right before he dies. Last time he was blue." The last twisted text she sent said, "I really want to unalive him, but I don't want to go to jail. It's unfortunate, but he's just going to have to pay for his existence."
What?
The boy ended up surviving his wounds, and now someone else is taking care of him. Emma was arrested and charged with abuse or neglect of a child. She remains in jail without bond.
This man is the most dangerous prisoner in the world. You won't believe what he did. A couple had just bought a brand new house that they moved into to start a new chapter in their lives. However, the first night that they moved into the house, they began to hear noises in the basement. The couple then decided to check the basement. When they got down to the basement, they saw this scary man. Immediately, they called the cops, describing what he looked like. They described him as over 6 foot tall and looked like a monster while on the phone with the police. The phone mysteriously hung up. The couple then began to scream for their lives, but you never believe what he did to them.
Photos with disturbing backstory.
Finish it.
Praying for a teammate that was murdered. The killer was present. Simon Goonon preparing for rescue. Suffocated after rescuing 13 people.
Terrible. That's crazy, man. Like I said, these pictures and stuff, man, that we see, it always, like, gets my mind turned, man, when you look at a picture and, like, you really don't understand the backstory behind it. It can seem all innocent, and it's really like a dark history behind it. That's why you gotta pay attention, man, to the details. The picture, it tells a story.
Creepiest urban legends in the world.
It's disturbing.
The Devil's Chair, Florida. According to the locals, if you sit in this chair and leave a beer on the step, it will whisper torturing messages to you. Only one person has attempted this.
Have you ever wondered what happened on this exact date 300 years ago? Well, this is what happened in history today, part 1. Up first, on July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 landed on the moon. It was carrying Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, who would become the first humans to walk on the moon. Next up, on July 20th, 1793, Scottish explorer Alexander Mackenzie completed the first European east-to-west crossing of America north of Mexico. It's crazy to me that on this exact day a couple hundred years ago, people were exploring the land that we call home. Next up, on July 20th, 1881, Sioux Indian chief Sitting Bull surrendered to the U.S. federal troops. Sitting Bull was an Indian tribe leader who led his people during years of resistance against United States government policies. He surrendered in exchange for amnesty for his people. Finally, on July 20th, 1917, the World War I draft was held. Secretary Baker, who was blindfolded, drew the first number from a bowl, followed by many other numbers over the course of 16.5 hours, and every number was a different man. And believe it or not, but on that day, 1.3 million men were called up for the draft. This literally happened on this exact day a little over 100 years ago.
It's crazy, man, how many incidents happened on July 20th, man. I mean, I don't know, there's a type of energy going around on that day, something like that, bro. I'm really gonna have to check out those events to actually make sure that they happen. See, because you can do that as well, man. It seems like July 20th, we're gonna have to mark that date in our calendars. It looks like some big stuff goes down on that day. Not alone. What are we about to see? Edit. Call it like I said.
Further that you look into dark history, you start to realize just how dark it really is. This woman behind me, this is Lurleen Wallace. She was the first female governor of Alabama, and she was diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer. Dark history for Lurleen was that, legally, doctors did not have to tell her. They only told her husband. Really let that sink in. She was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, terminal cancer, and only her husband was told. Her husband decided not to tell her. Legally, he didn't have to. It was thought at the time that women's nerves were too fragile to be able to handle news like this, so only their husbands were told. I think we're probably going to cover this on the podcast, because this is actually a pretty in-depth story, if you want to listen. Basically, the way this story ends is that Lurleen, she does become governor. She runs, but she only lives through the first year of her term. She was never initially told she was dying.
Fun fact.
That's insane.
Most of the thermostats found in office buildings are fake and only there to trick workers into thinking the temperature has been changed, but really they don't do anything.
Whoa.
To keep things as efficient and cost-effective as possible, most buildings have been converted to automatic thermostat systems, where sensors are placed in the building that read the temperature in the room and then turn on the heat or cooling whenever the temperature gets out of range. And generally, the temperature is set by the landlord, not the renter. Since heating and cooling costs can quickly spiral out of control, most commercial leases include a specific air temperature range for the building. But managers, landlords, and HVAC technicians got tired of the constant calls from workers telling them the heat or air conditioning wasn't working, so they came up with a solution. They began installing fake thermostats in offices so workers could have the illusion of control over the temperature, but really they don't do anything. And one HVAC technician estimated 9 out of 10 office thermostats are fake.
The craziest execution methods. Part 8. The nitric acid bath. Heavily used by ISIS in Iraq, but there are reports of it being used in other Middle Eastern countries. Bound to other prisoners and placed inside of an iron cage. You were then slowly lowered into a vat of nitric acid. Nitric acid is a colorless liquid highly corrosive to the human body. The scariest part is, they don't completely submerge you. They dip you in and out just enough to dissolve your organs. Fuck that.
These are some extreme...
That's a bad way to go out. Seekers. Couldn't even imagine that. It's like they're trying to purge you or something like that. Edit.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 21. This photo shows an 8-month-old Zhao Bao who was lucky to be alive because his mother stabbed him 90 times after he bit her while she was breastfeeding him. The world's scariest haunted house, McCamey Manor, requires you to sign a 40-page waiver and undergo a physical and mental evaluation. If you manage to make it through the house, you could win $20,000. But to this day, no one has ever made it through. The little girl who voiced Ducky in The Land Before Time was shot to death by her father, who then committed suicide. Roman Emperor Nero had a boy castrated, dressed him up as a bride, and married him, all because the boy looked similar to his previous dead wife. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because the kid was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty.
4 scary...
That last one takes the kid. Just because he was getting his freaking butt whooped in Call of Duty, he decided to take it to that extreme, bro. Can't even play games nowadays, Seekers, man, without somebody trying to hunt you down because they mad at you. That's what we're coming to, man. That's like, be careful, man. If y'all talking on those Call of Duty lobbies, those are one of the most dangerous places to be in.
Facts about nights in Islam. Number 1, you die every night. According to this verse of the Holy Quran, every night when you go to sleep, your soul is removed from your body. If it is written that you will live, your soul will return in the morning when you wake up. But if it's written that you will die, your soul will stay with Allah and you will pass away in your sleep. Number 2, jinns at night. The barrier between our world and the world of the jinns is weakest at night. This is when jinns and dark creatures cross through, possessing and harming human beings that may still be awake. So if you're up beating your schlong at 3 a.m., watch out. Number 3, dogs at night. According to this hadith, if you hear a dog barking at night, seek protection from Allah because they can see what you cannot. And number 4, lock your doors at night. According to this hadith, if you lock your doors, shaitan will not be able to enter your home. Be careful at night.
You wanna check those out, Seekers, man? Dark Fox and Midnight?
Scary things you never knew. The last one is shocking. Taylor Swift was one celebrity that said she was concerned with climate change. But funny enough, her private jet emits more carbon in a single trip than your car does in your entire lifetime. And that jet has flown over 200 times in the past year. This is supposedly where you'll be in the next 5 years. Comment down below what your month says about you. The United States has about 6 nuclear weapons that are still missing. And nobody knows where they went or who has them. A man had donated his mother's body to scientific research when she had passed away. The research facility then sold the body to the U.S. Army for $5,000. The Army then strapped it to a chair and blew it up with explosives. Would you rather spend one night in this bathroom or kiss the third person that appears when you click share and then more? If you Google Halloween Google 2022, a scary multiplayer game will pop up that you can play with your friends. Go try it and let me know if it works for you. Before we get to the last scary thing, please support my page by clicking the follow button for more interesting posts
every day. Ducks sometimes become cannibals due to boredom. Yeah, they're not so cute now. What's worse is this behavior starts as early as 4 weeks old.
What facts surprised you guys the most, man? I think it was about those missing news, bro. I'm surprised I didn't make like national news. What the hell going on? It's insane.
Disturbing facts that will ruin your life. The youngest inmate to have died at Kingston Pen, which is Canada's first prison, was 9 years old. He died of tuberculosis, and his crime was larceny in 1857. A typical jar of peanut butter contains 10 or more rodent hairs, averaging 1 or more rodent hairs per 100 grams. Dr. Seuss actually cheated on his wife, Helen Palmer, who was sick with cancer. She then killed herself by overdosing on barbiturates. Russia and Pluto have about the same surface area. The 2 times Snickers bar is really only 1.5 Snickers. At the age of 25 years is when your body stops producing cells faster than it can replace them, meaning your body begins dying very slowly and breaking down. There's a slight chance you could die from spontaneously combusting. Thousands of people die every year due to doctors' sloppy handwriting on prescriptions. Forensic scientists can tell when and sometimes how someone has died by looking at the type of insects that have begun to gather in and around a dead body. Your eyeballs will flatten soon after you die. Hit the plus sign if you want to learn more facts.
Facts, man, that got you out the most. I think it's how I was saying you could just spontaneously combust. Like, I've never heard any cases like that, man. What the hell is going on in our world, bro? We could just combust spontaneously.
Do you ever see a picture that just makes your stomach drop? This is a still from an alert that a woman named Alexis Randall got on her phone. It's from a security camera that was set up in her living room, but she's looking at this and she's thinking the same thing you are. She's like, what's wrong with the picture here? Why did the motion detector go off? But then look a bit closer, specifically at the bathroom door. This man was staring at the camera from the doorway. She spots this picture and she immediately panics and calls the police, but by the time they get there, this guy is gone. What really freaked her out even more is that when police got there, they found evidence that the bathroom window had been tampered with. Further security footage would show that the man had crawled through the bathroom window the night before and was hiding in the hallway bathroom all through the night, even while she was in the house.
You can't even see until you zoomed in.
I mean, she could probably charge with child porn.
Who, she can? She's 11 years old.
She's creating it, right?
She's 11 years old.
Doesn't matter. He's still making porn.
No, she's not. She's being manipulated by Brian.
Is she taking pictures of?
That's how I see it.
Okay, thank you
for calling.
A man who attempted to murder a teenager and left her
They're gonna arrest that girl because she's making it.
It's a miracle that Ashley Reeves survived an attempted murder, but now her attacker is walking free. It was the 29th of April 2006 in Belleville, Illinois. At around 2 a.m, officers found 17-year-old Ashley Reeves just moments from death. She'd been left in the woods to die for over 30 hours. Paramedics rushed her to hospital and placed her in an induced coma. She was actually in such a bad way that they'd initially thought she was dead. 2 days prior to this, Ashley told her parents that she had an interview to attend. She was in a relationship with a boy called Jeremy Smith at the time, and she took his car to drive herself to the interview. When she didn't come home, her parents were extremely worried. They called authorities and began the hunt. Officers later discovered her boyfriend's abandoned car, and inside were a change of clothes that Ashley had taken to change into after her interview. That's when they discovered Ashley nearby. She'd been strangled with a belt and had her neck broken, but miraculously she was still alive. Police discovered a man named Samson Shelton was the last person to contact her. He was her teacher and a professional wrestler. They arrested him on suspicion of attempted murder. He changed his story multiple times before eventually admitting to strangling the poor girl. He said he broke her neck with his arm. He said the pair had gotten into an argument over a relationship they were having. He said they had sex, and then after the vicious attack, he had thrown her into the woods. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison, but has recently just been released on parole after serving just 17 years. It truly is a miracle that Ashley managed to survive this attack, and her story was made into a movie named Left for Dead: The Ashley Reeves Story.
Disturbing facts from history you wish you didn't know. One of the most horrifying true stories you'll ever hear has to be that of Russia's Cannibal Island. In the summer of 1933, thousands of Russian citizens were rounded up by police and sent to live on a tiny, swampy island in Siberia's Oba River. The plan was for the deportees to construct a special settlement as part of Joseph Stalin's new social engineering plan to rid Moscow of all undesirable elements. In May, the first 3,000 prisoners were dropped off by barge on Nazino Island. They were given no tools, food, or shelter. These were mostly city dwellers who had no farming experience or any skills for surviving outdoors. In a short time, the weather conditions quickly deteriorated with rain, snow, and freezing winds sweeping over the island. Even still, more barges kept coming, dropping off even more people. Guards patrolled the icy waters, threatening to shoot anyone who tried to escape. For a while, every 4 or 5 days, they would drop off sacks of moldy rye flour as the only food source on the island. The inhabitants would take the flour to the river, mix it with water and drink it. Eating it dry was nearly impossible. Accidentally breathing the flour in its original state could be suffocating. Early on, many people lost their lives by freezing. Some burned alive by sleeping too close to the fires. Others became ill from drinking the brackish water. Things grew far worse for the survivors once starvation set in. Soon, the strongest of the island's prisoners began hunting the weakest members for food. Rumors quickly spread back in Moscow that the island's prisoners had begun eating each other. The experiment ended just 13 weeks after it had begun. Soldiers were sent to evacuate the island. What they found when they got there is beyond a nightmare. Corpses stripped of their flesh littered the tall grass. Skeletal limbs and human organs were discovered hanging from trees. One woman who had been transferred to another camp was missing her calves. That's because some of the prisoners cut them off while she was alive. She only survived because the frigid temperatures kept her alive. Of the 6,700 prisoners brought to Nazino Island, 4,000 went missing or were killed. The events on Russia's Cannibal Island were covered up until 1988, when secret records were finally released to the public.
That's some dark history, bro. Russia got Cannibal Island? What the hell? It's a whole ass experiment, man. Makes you think. What other stuff is covered up that we don't know about?
Terrifying things that our own government did to us in our past. Here we go. Starting in 1953, the CIA illegally experimented on U.S. and Canadian citizens. The project was called MKUltra, or Operation Mind Control. The government recruited over 80 institutions and over 150 researchers to do their dirty work for them. They were using biological and chemical agents on their participants, but the worst of all was the LSD experiments. They would use prisoners, mental patients, and even drug addicts for these experiments. This scene in Stranger Things is actually taken from the MKUltra experiments, where one patient was given LSD for 174 days in a row. Heroin, morphine, alcohol, marijuana were all used as well. They say that the experiments lasted all the way until 1973. Some people, like Ken Kesey, actually volunteered for this, which led to the electric Kool-Aid acid test in the 1960s with the...
And I think about it, Stranger Things, you guys know that scene with Elle and where she was training and stuff. They said they based it off that. I never put 2 and 2 together until now. And I was just talking about like how some stuff about we don't know what stuff got covered up, man. And it's just like coincidence. The next video, next clip, just pulled it up, man. Tap in with us, bro. We learning. Gotta pay attention.
This little boy lost his life by treadmill due to his father. So this man is currently on trial for this. So I just watched the video, and on the video, the little boy seems to be walking for a long time. The father walks over, speeds up the treadmill while talking to the little boy. Then he speeds it up some more. Then he inclines it, and the little boy is struggling. You can see his little legs just going as fast as they can to keep up with the treadmill. Like he's full on sprinting, and at some point, he can't keep up, and he falls off. Like he just rolls off the treadmill and hits the ground. The father picks him up, tosses him back on the treadmill, bites him on top of the head while holding him down on the treadmill and making his feet keep up with the speed. As soon as the father lets him go, he rolls off the treadmill again, bumps his head, hits the floor. He jumps up, gets back on the treadmill, tries to keep up with it again, falls. He repeats this about 3 or 4 times. That's where the father is biting him on the head right there. So eventually the father does slow the treadmill down and brings the incline down, but he makes the boy continue to run. So the father and the mother does have like some type of joint custody, shared custody type of situation, I guess. And the mother is the first one to report the injuries to child protection. And she tells him to take their son to the hospital, and he does. While at the hospital, that's when the little boy revealed that his father made him run on the treadmill because he was fat. This little boy is little, even if he was fat. And so the next day when they wake up, the little boy is stumbling, he's slurring his words, he's nauseous, so he does rush into the hospital. And while they're getting a CT scan, the little boy has a seizure, and they have to take life-preventing measures, and they were unsuccessful. The little boy did pass away. Now, the autopsy revealed that there were blunt force injuries. It was cardiac and liver contusions, sepsis. There was lacerations on his heart and liver. Now, if you go to YouTube and watch the video, because his father is currently on trial, and it shows the video, y'all see how hard this little boy kept hitting that treadmill when he fall, and the way his dad would put him back on there, you will see why he had the injuries that he had. And they have offered the father a 30-year plea deal, and he turned it down. They got footage. I'm glad he turned it down. He's gonna get even more time.
Things humans were never meant to see. Man transforms into real werewolf.
Okay. Let's see. A werewolf? We don't see nothing yet. Iffy, man. You believe there's secrets? This has to be like a well put together edit, right? What the fuck? A werewolf. That's what we're going with. I ain't gonna lie, that kind of looked like edited to me. I don't know, man. Like I said, tell me down below, guys, if you guys believe that. You guys want me to check into that, man? That looks freaking weird. But okay. Guys, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're a truth seeker seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, subscribe to that channel, hit that post notification bell, hit that like button, man. Also, man, like I said, guys, I need you guys to follow me on my social medias, man. If you guys want me to react to different TikToks and clips, You guys follow me on my social medias, and you guys can send it to me in my DMs so I can incorporate them into the next video if you guys want me trying to, because I know how you said you guys want me to switch it up, so I need your guys' support, man. Like I said, just follow me on my social medias and send me the videos in my DMs, and I can incorporate that for the next video so we can help each other out, man. Like I said, we're gonna grow our community together. You guys gonna catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace, YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, we break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, Facebook, IG, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank you guys who's been tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, hitting that like button, man, helping us grow in our community, the seekers, man. We seek the truth, so I appreciate each and every single one of you, man. Also, man, let me know if you guys can notice the difference in the audio quality. It should be much clearer now. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Seek the truth.
Who took his own life after falling victim to a sextortion scam is finally seeing justice. Nigerian brothers Samuel and Samson Ogoshi posed as a woman on Instagram and tricked 17-year-old George DeMay into sending them intimate photos.
Catfish.
They demanded the teen send them $1,000, threatening to share the pictures with his friends and family if he didn't pay up. 6 hours later, DeMay was found dead. His last message was, "I'm killing myself right now because of you." Now the scammers have pleaded guilty to conspiring to exploit teenage boys.
When I tell you,
be careful who you talk to out here.
Tears to my eyes as a mom. This brought tears to my eyes. Okay, this is Matthew and Savannah, baby Fabian. If most of y'all know the Savannah Soto case, 18-year-old pregnant girl from Texas. Unfortunately, she was found deceased. Her and her boyfriend were found deceased.
What?
And she was pregnant with baby Fabian. She was gonna be having him any day, y'all. This is baby Fabian. This picture was shared by the family, and they wanted to show how peaceful he looked, and he looks. And the message says, "We will forever be grateful to at now I lay me down to sleep for these wonderful photos of our grandson Fabian Guera, memories we can hold in our heart till we get to hold you again. You are now an angel with mommy and daddy in heaven. So the day we see Matthew, Savannah, and baby Fabian again, you will all be forever in our hearts. I know all three are looking down on us as a family in heaven." And these are some photos from the funeral, you guys. She was buried holding her baby. It's hard to hold back tears right now, but rest in peace to Savannah, Matthew, and baby Fabian.
This is one of the scariest ghost stories I've heard, so now everyone's got to hear it. Back in 2003, there was this group of deployed American Marines who got moved into abandoned military housing that was dubbed Ghost Town. They got the name because apparently the first group of Marines that lived there only made it a week before they couldn't live there anymore. They said they couldn't sleep the entire time they were there. Like all night they would hear the sounds of children laughing, of like footsteps upstairs when there was no one there. I talk about it this week on the podcast, but one night the new group that had moved in had to go out and patrol the area. So they're walking through the neighborhood, like past a bunch of abandoned houses, and then all of a sudden, one of the Marines just starts screaming. He throws his weapon down and just takes off running, like through enemy territory with no weapon.
Whoa.
So half of the Marines chase after him, and then the other half turn around to see what he was screaming at. They said that behind them, there was this creature that looked like a shadow come to life. It was really tall and skinny, but they said it had these bright, glowing red eyes. But before they knew what to do, it just vanished. The craziest part is that multiple other people have reported seeing this exact creature, like, in the area. If you want to hear more of these stories, you've got to check out the podcast this week.
What do you guys think, man? There's something more to that story, because they said multiple people in the area has reported that, man. So it's just not like a one-case occurrence. When that happens multiple times, that's a pattern. There's definitely some weird energy in that town or something, man. Guys, we need to check that out.
This math teacher had with two schoolboys, and one of them got her pregnant. The boy told police in an interview that Jonas had given her 10 of the 11 digits to her phone number and challenged him to guess the other, which he had, and that had led to them messaging each other. Joins groomed the first student by taking him to the Trafford Centre and bought him a Gucci belt. Later, she drove the boy back to her flat in Salford, where they had sex twice. Rumours spread among the boy's friends, the jury heard, and Joyce was suspended by her school in October 2021 after being arrested by police. She was subsequently charged and was due to face trial, but then it emerged she had been in a long-term intimate relationship with second student. She said the relationship had begun when the boy was 15, and he went into her flat twice, where they kissed, but it became intimate when he turned 16, whilst she was on bail and faced charges over the first student. Phone messages between then became more flirtatious. One he sent read, "Get your tits out," and she replied, "Not tonight." And then she went on to send him a photo of her bum in just her knickers. Sacked in July 2022, denies 4 charges of inappropriate activity with a child and 2 charges of inappropriate activity with a child as a person in a position of trust. The trial continues and is expected to last 2 weeks.
That is disgusting. She was on trial for something and still continued to do the same thing. What the hell would be going through people's mind, man? She was a teacher too, bro. Supposed to be teaching kids. That's an edit.
Interesting facts you never knew. The last one was shot. If you stay up all night, your body burns an extra 161 calories. If you pinch the skin on your elbow as hard as you can, you won't feel any pain. One of your friends wants to be more than a friend to you. It's the third person you see when you click on share and then more. A woman can get pregnant while she's already pregnant and have children by 2 different people at the same time. If you Google the word askew, the page will tilt slightly clockwise. Go do it and then come back and let me know if it worked in the comments below. There's a syndrome where people believe they're turning into trees called Cotard's syndrome. Almost 20 million people share the same birthday. Comment your birthday and see who has the same one as you. My birthday is August 29th. Before the last fact, support me by clicking the follow button for more interesting facts every day. A British Marine had a leg tattoo of Liverpool's motto, "You'll never walk alone." He got hurt in Afghanistan and had to get his leg amputated, which also cut off part of the tattoo. Now it says, "You'll never walk."
What was Megan Thee Stallion talking about when she referenced Megan's Law? If this law existed, 7-year-old Megan Conca wouldn't have been essayed and killed. Jesse Timendekas had served time for 2 previous convictions for essay against children. But still, he was able to move across the street from 7-year-old Megan Conca and her family. Her parents had no idea that the man who seemed to be chilling in his yard every time Megan went out to play or draw with sidewalk chalk was watching her, and waiting for the time to strike. On July 29, 1994, he lured the child into his house under the pretense that she could play with his new puppy. He essayed her, but because he didn't want her to report it, he strangled her with a belt, and he dumped her body in the nearby park. And the next day, he confessed to police and led them to the dump site. Evidence included bloodstains, hair samples, and a bite mark on Jesse's hand because Megan had tried to fight back. He was initially given the death penalty, but the state of New Jersey changed this to life in prison without parole. And because Megan's family had no idea that they were living across the street from someone who had committed violent crimes against children, they fought to have a federal law passed in Megan's name. Megan's Law requires law enforcement to make info on offenders public. By being a registered offender, you're added to the offender registry that includes your name, crimes, and address, and you must alert the government if you move. Before Megan's Law, only 5 states required people like this to register, as required in the Jacob Wetterling Act, which I covered in a separate video. Together, the Wetterling Act and Megan's Law protect the public in 2 ways. 1, the registry itself, and 2, community notification for the public. Megan's Law would have given Megan's family the chance to protect her. And looking at the list of offenders in your area is something I recommend for everybody to do, and let me know if you want me to make a tutorial on how to do that. So when Megan Thee Stallion referenced Megan's Law in her newest diss track, she was referencing the fact that Nicki Minaj is married to a offender. If you like this video, give me a follow and stay safe out there.
So that's what that
this
ball
kid
is
hated
for.
his Spanish teacher so much, he offered his friends £10 to murder her. Will Cornick's parents separated, but both were described as supportive. He enrolled at Corpus Christi in Year 7. His former head of year said he was polite and always showed up. Prior to the murder, he only had 4 instances of misbehavior in 4.5 years at the school and had no criminal record. His classmates described him as academically gifted and unlikely to cause trouble. Will's personality changed after he collapsed while on holiday in Cornwall,
Oh.
and he was diagnosed with diabetes. Sadly, he self-harmed due to the condition. In 2013, he was disappointed to learn that he wouldn't be able to join the army due to his diabetes. At Christmas that year, he sent a Facebook message to his friend where he talked about brutally murdering Ann Maguire, who was his Spanish teacher. Will had been planning the murder 4 days beforehand. It was said that he held a deep-seated grudge against Ann Maguire. He had also sent Facebook messages to his friends, asking them if they could murder her for £10. On the 28th of April 2014, Will attended class as normal. After morning break, he went to the top floor for his Spanish lessons. Midway through the lessons, he got up and started randomly attacking Anne, stabbing her 7 times in the back and neck with a 21cm knife, one cut straight through her jugular vein. He then chased her into the corridor, where Susan Francis was, who was the head of Spanish. She started to scream for help. She managed to separate and shield Anne from Will. Susan managed to put Anne in a room by herself and held the door closed to keep Will away from her. She was also pregnant at the time. Will then returned to class and told a friend that it was a shame that he had not killed Anne there and there. Will had bought a bottle of whiskey to celebrate, and he admitted that he was going to kill 2 more teachers. He was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 20 years.
It's like after he just got done, he turned to a different person. It just switched. It's crazy to see how a person could just turn like that. You never know. Added. Like this is telekinetic.
Congratulations, you once again made it to criminal TikTok, and these chemicals, when combined, will create deadly results. Remember to tag a friend below so they don't accidentally combine these chemicals and use them on someone that they don't like. Alright, the first one, I'm sure everyone knows this, but if you mix these 2 common household ingredients, bleach and ammonia, for example, while cleaning a toilet, you know what this does? Creates mustard gas. But if you didn't already know this, if you combine bleach with someone's dog's piss, that shit might make chlorine gas. Obviously not a lot, but if the dog pisses a lot, or it's in an enclosed space, this will fucking cause some serious shit. Next up, if you accidentally mix hydrogen peroxide, and then mix that with vinegar, at the right concentrations, that creates something called peracetic acid. I don't even know what the fuck that is, but it sounds dangerous. Remember not to accidentally throw that on someone you don't like. And last but not least, there's a reason why you never mix bleach with rubbing alcohol. Okay? The reason is, it creates chloroform, the shit that knocks you out and fucking kills you after. Remember, do not use any of these and stay safe.
Have you ever heard of Leonardo
crazy.
Cianciulli, or the soap maker of Correggio? Sorry if I butchered that. At the turn of the 20th century, Leonardo had 17 pregnancies in total. Out of those 17 pregnancies, she lost 3 children to miscarriage and 10 died very young. Leonardo was very protective of her 4 remaining children, especially her oldest son, who was her favorite, Giuseppe. Again, I'm sorry if I butchered that. Giuseppe decided to enlist in the Italian army to help with World War II efforts. Leonardo was deeply suspicious, and when her son joined the army, she turned to those superstitions to keep him safe. Leonardo would go on to murder 3 women from 1939 to 1940. She would lure them in under the guise of work or matchmaking in a different country. She had the women write detailed letters to her families explaining their trips. She would then kill them with an axe and bake them into tea cakes that she would feed to her son and her friends and family. With her last victim, she even went as far as to turn her into soap. But her last victim had family that didn't believe the story of the quick trip to a different country. They would involve the police, and one of her family members had seen her go into Leonardo's home. It didn't take long for Leonardo to confess to everything. Leonardo's trial would only last for 3 days, and she was sentenced to 33 years in prison. She died of a brain hemorrhage in prison on October 15th of 1970. She was 79 years old. I personally don't think that that was enough time, but what do you think?
She literally turned someone into soap. How do you even do that? Man, these cases get crazier and crazier. Tap in with us, Seekers. You gonna learn some new stuff. The car was
This girl killed her mum and then texted a photo of her body to her dad. In 2013, Rachel Hudson and her family were supposed to be celebrating Thanksgiving at their home in Virginia. However, the holiday would take a horrendously sinister turn. Rachel's mum was terminally ill 58-year-old Susan Lee. Rachel had been her mum's carer since she was just 9 years old.
Young.
On the evening in question, Rachel and her dad got into an argument. When her dad left the house the next day to make the most of the Black Friday sales, Rachel did something unthinkable. She took a weapon out of the wardrobe and loaded it. She apparently thought about unaliving herself at this point, but she didn't want to put her mum through the trauma of finding her body. She then walked into the room where her mum was and said, "I'm sorry, this is what has to happen." Her mum apparently told her, "You're crazy," and this is the point where Rachel killed her mum. When she texted her dad to break the news to him, he obviously didn't believe what she was saying. She then took a photo of her mum's body and texted it over to her dad. Rachel was sentenced initially to 50 years in prison, but this was reduced to 18 years because of an apparent undiagnosed mental illness.
Interview with People magazine, Gypsy Rose and
Dark
her husband
case.
Ryan Anderson are sharing their love story. The couple got married in a prison ceremony in July 2022, but up until this point we hadn't really known the details of how they met. But shortly before she was released, both Gypsy and Ryan spoke with People magazine and shared some more details of their love story. Ryan Anderson is a 37-year-old special education teacher originally from Gypsy's home state of Louisiana.
Okay.
He told People that they first met back in 2020 when he decided to take a chance and write to her. He said, "It was when Tiger King was really popular. My coworker at the time said, 'I want to write to Tiger King.' And I said, 'I'll tell you what, if you write to him, I'll write to Gypsy Rose Blanchard.'" In that first letter, Ryan told Gypsy, quote, "what her story meant to me, and on the second page, I just let her have it. I told her everything about me." He didn't expect to hear back, but by May 2020, the two were corresponding regularly. Ryan said that he would get butterflies when he got an email from Gypsy. And when the two spoke on the phone for the first time and he heard her voice, that all but sealed the deal for him. Gypsy's also falling in love as Ryan, quote, became her emotional backbone. She said that they met when the pandemic was really strong and she had a lot of emotional ups and downs because of it. She said, "Ryan has seen me through some really good times, some really hard times. I would say that he is probably the most compassionate soul that I've ever met and the most patient." She said, "I could be a lot to handle. I could be an emotional handful, but he is so patient with her." Because of restrictions thanks to the pandemic, they didn't meet in person until July 2021. But they continued to get closer, and according to the interview with People, Ryan became so in tune with Gypsy's emotions that he could tell how she was feeling as soon as she picked up the phone. Gypsy said, "We've been able to build this emotional bond that within 2 seconds of talking on the phone, he knows my emotions." She said, "I'm thankful that I have a man that is open enough with his own emotions so I could let my emotions flow." On July 21st, 2022, Gypsy and Ryan got married in a prison ceremony. And today, December 28th, 2023, he was the one to pick her up when she was released. Gypsy also mentioned in the interview with People that she wants kids one day. She said, "It's hard because I'm going into a new life and I'm newly married and I'm going to have kids one day and I'm going to have to explain to my kids why their grandmother on mommy's side isn't around. And that's going to be a really hard conversation." But by all accounts, it seems like Gypsy is really happy with Ryan and that he has been there supporting her through a lot. So hopefully he will be continuing to support her as she adjusts to her new life.
I'm sorry, we all know how that ended. They got a divorce, or Gypsy, she ain't messing with him no more, man. And I heard there was a report how she's trying to get him back into her TikTok account and get some money back, and they're trying to keep her, something like that. So they got some stuff going on between them two. Just needed to hear the origins of the relationship. That's a good edit.
Hear about the couple that tortured and killed their au pair? Sophie Lynette was a 20-year-old French woman who wanted to work as an au pair in England so that she could learn English. A lot of people take on au pair positions for this reason. It's when you live with a family and take care of their kids while also learning their customs and language. She got a position working for Sabrina Quater and Wissam Madouni. They were French nationals that lived near London, and everything seemed to be going great at first.
But little did Sophie know, Sabrina had a very delusional and violent side of her. Sabrina ruled her household with an iron fist and hardly paid Sophie.
Damn.
Sim was very submissive to his wife, which is typically fine, but Sabrina began to abuse Sophie. Neighbors noticed that Sophie seemed stressed and sad, and she had also lost a lot of weight. This is a photo taken just days before she died. Sabrina had withheld food and taken away Sophie's ID and cell phone so that she couldn't contact her family.
The fuck?
Sabrina got it into her head that her au pair was in cahoots with her ex-boyfriend, Mark Walton. Sabrina was convinced that Sophie would get up in the middle of the night and let Mark into their house so that he could abuse their children. And her husband eventually started to believe her. And to be clear, Mark Walton didn't even live in England at the time, and he had no idea who Sophie was. Over a period of several months, the couple beat Sophie, whipped her with extension cords, and then waterboarded her in their bathtub. On Sabrina's phone, they found that she actually recorded some of these interrogations, although the actual audio is not public. It wasn't until neighbors noticed black smoke and a foul odor coming from the couple's backyard. Firefighters showed up and they noticed that chicken was on the grill, but there was also a large fire next to the grill. Upon further inspection, they noticed a pair of glasses as well as human fingers and a nose.
What the?
Sabrina and Sim had killed Sophie, but there was no way to tell for sure exactly how she died. The autopsy showed that she had been beaten severely, and she had several cracked ribs and even a cracked sternum, which I guess means that they stepped on her chest. Because of her inflated lungs, they think that her cause of death was drowning. Both of them were sentenced to 30 years to life behind bars.
It's a dark case, man. She was just trying to learn the customs and just learn the language, man, in order to get a better life, and look what happened. She found the wrong couple. That's an edit.
No, because while this stuff that's been going on in the world is reminding me of American Horror Story Apocalypse Season.
Really?
Let's talk about it. Now, I talk a lot about this show because I feel like it is really woke and it is completely accurate with a lot of stuff that they talk about. So if you haven't watched the show or this episode, I'm about to give y'all a whole rundown of why I feel like it's reminding me of what's going on right now in the world. Okay. So this whole series was basically talking about the end times, the apocalypse, the end of the world, whatever you want to call it. And the world didn't end in a natural way. The world ended on the show because of the higher-ups and the Antichrist. Yeah. So the dude that is like the spawn of Satan, so the son of Satan is the Antichrist. He, ever since he was a kid, he's just been super evil. Like, I'm talking about anybody that worked for them at their house. He would kill, as a little kid, he would kill all type of little animals. I'm talking about birds, all type of stuff. It was just really bad. He even had like the mark of the beast or something on the back of his ear. It was crazy. So the lady that raised him was just so tired of burying all the nannies and maids and all this in the backyard. So she kicked him to the curb. So at this point, he's like a teenager. He's lost. He's the Antichrist. But he knows it, but he doesn't quite know like his powers yet. So he stumbles across this Church of Satan, where he meets one of the members that was actually really nice to him. And she finds out that he is the spawn of Satan. Now everybody in this church, or whatever you want to call it, was waiting on this day. Like, that's all they've been waiting on was the Antichrist, of course, for obvious reasons. Their goal was to end the world and restart it over in the devil's image. So the lady that was basically helping the boy out, because at this point he was homeless, and he just stumbled across the church and he met her there, she let him stay at her house. He was feeding him and everything like this. And he lost the only person that ever loved him, which was this lady that basically taught him everything he knew about like Satan and all that. So she was like, we can find her, we can get her back. We got powers, we got connections to everywhere, all over the world. And he was like, you can't do that because she's gone. And he was like, yes, we can. So she take him to this like multi-billion-dollar tech company, ran by these two boys that you would probably think like would be in their mom's basement playing video games. And they were the cooperative. Y'all already know the other word for it, but I'm not going to say it on here because, you know, TikTok. They said how they sold their soul, and that's how they got the most biggest tech company in the world. And those two boys that ran that tech company helped the Antichrist in the world. So the only people that were saved were the people that was in the cooperative and the super rich people that could afford underground bunkers. Haven't a lot of these rich people been talking about how they have bunkers and all these underground shelters? Yeah, alright. But I said all that to say, the world was ended by the higher-ups. And the only people that survived were the people that can afford it and people with a specific blood type. I'm not gonna say his name, but y'all already know who this story reminds me of. His initials is EM, and he's super rich. But let me know what y'all think in the comments.
This is one of the worst.
What do you guys think, Seekers, man? If she was breaking it down, bro, that thinking that those two guys had the huge tech company, all those underground bunkers, man, it was connecting. I ain't gonna lie to you, she was connecting the dots. What do you guys think?
Cases in human history. This is the murder of Christine Silawan. She was from the Philippines and was a volunteer in church, and she used the church every day from 4 to 6 p.m.
Okay.
On the day of her murder, she went to church as per her schedule, but she didn't come home after that. Her parents then started to worry, and they began searching for her with their neighbors. And what they found is absolutely horrid. They found her body in a farm where half her face was sliced like a piece of pizza, and her face was literally skinned down to her skull. Also, her brain was completely destroyed by acid. The police then started investigating, and they checked the cameras and found out that she was with a guy. The people started protesting about this case, and the case was then given to special officers. They had a lot of pressure on this. A week before this happened, she broke up with her boyfriend, so the police took him into custody. And he was proving that he was at home all day when she was murdered, but officers were completely tired of this case, and they then sentenced him as the murderer.
Crazy.
But after a few months, a thief was caught in a store where he confessed that he murdered and raped Christine. He said he started talking to her on Facebook with a fake account and was using fake photos of another guy that was pretty good looking.
Another catfish.
Christine fell for the guy, and she assumed that he was about 20 years old, and they started texting daily. One day, they both decided to meet up at 6 p.m. near the church she went to. But upon arriving, Christine noticed that this was not the guy she was talking to, and he was around 40-ish years old. She then refused to talk to him and tried to go back, but he held her hands extremely forcefully. He then took her far away from town and raped her repeatedly and put iron rods inside her personal organs.
What the?
He then cut her face in half and then skinned her whole head down to the skull. And to make it even worse, he put acid inside of her head. The autopsy also revealed that her tongue, trachea, esophagus, parts of her neck, and her right ear were missing. The self-proclaimed killer of this case, named Renato Lanes, said that he used barber-type scissors and stabbed her 30 times on different parts of her body and skinned her face. Christine Silawan was only 16 years old, and this case is extremely haunting. There's a picture of her body that was found in the field, but Google did a really good job of not showing it and hiding it. So even if you do go looking for the picture, I don't think you're going to find it.
No.
This is one of those cases that after you get done reading it, you just feel some sort of uneasiness. I feel so bad for Christine's family, and I can't imagine finding my daughter in this state. May Christine Silawan rest in peace.
This pedophile committed a crime so disturbing that a petition was created that asked the government to publicly hang him. And the petition gathered thousands of signatures. This is 33-year-old Benjamin Taylor from West Virginia. And in 2016, he would commit one of the most sickening crimes I've ever read about. Back in 2016, Benjamin was living with his girlfriend, a woman named Amanda Adkins. At the time, Amanda had recently given birth only 9 months ago to her baby daughter, Emily. Emily was a beautiful young girl. And I want to warn you all right now, the details that we're about to discuss are some of the most disturbing I've ever covered. So in October of 2016, Benjamin had only been living with his girlfriend Amanda for about a month. And on the morning of Emily's death at around 4:30 a.m., Amanda woke up and went downstairs to search for her baby. When she went downstairs, she saw Benjamin Taylor with his pants unzipped sitting in the dark. Amanda then noticed that her 9-month-old daughter's limp body was lying nearby on a pile of sheets and laundry. Amanda screamed at Benjamin and grabbed her daughter's lifeless body, but he remained silent and stared at the ground. The details of what had just happened down there are disturbing. Local authorities would call this the worst assault that they had seen in decades.
Damn.
You see, Benjamin and Emily were covered in the infant's blood. After the child's body was examined, the authorities were able to determine that she had been assaulted by an adult male multiple times. The infant child was also bleeding extensively and had suffered head trauma. Emily had a fractured skull and brain hemorrhaging. Authorities believe that Emily may have been shaken violently, or even thrown to the ground or slammed against a hard object. When police arrived at the scene, Benjamin Taylor was observed trying to wipe something off of his groin. That was eventually determined to be Emily's blood. He also told authorities that he remembered taking the baby to the basement, but that he blacked out after that. You see, he had been smoking and drinking the night before, and that was his excuse. Thankfully, Benjamin was convicted of all charges and sentenced to life in prison without mercy, as you can see right here. But for some people, that just wasn't enough. And like I said at the beginning of this video, a petition was created which asked the government to publicly hang Benjamin. And this petition, before it was shut down, gathered over 50,000 signatures.
50K?
I mean, this truly is one of the worst things that I've ever covered here on my TikTok. And personally, I don't think that life in prison is enough for this guy. I mean, the pain that poor Emily went through before she was eventually killed is just heartbreaking on every single level.
It is.
And I just hope and pray that the other prisoners that are in there with Benjamin find out, or already have found out, exactly what he did to land himself in there. If you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast Murder in America that I co-host with my wife, Courtney. It's available on all streaming platforms.
If they find out what he did, that's probably going to be for him, man, because we've been hearing stories, man. We covered it on here, man. How when other prisoners, when they find out what you did, if it ain't something they like, it's over for you. That's a dark, dark, dark case. Man. If you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, tell me down below, man, if you guys can hear the change in the audio quality, man. Like I said, it should be very much clearer. So, like I said, I'm always trying to upgrade the channel for you guys. You guys been seeing the thumbnails, man. I'm really trying to grow our community together. So, I would really appreciate the support by hitting that like button, subscribing, hitting that post notification bells, man. Also, man, tell me what I can do to make the channel better. I'm always open to criticisms, man. I'm still like a small channel growing and learning, so I gotta learn, man. And guys can catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace, seekers.